listening to Here to Chew Bubblegum, recorded from a secret location in the city that moves mountains.
Greetings.
We come in peace.
How's it going today, Cronkite?
Oh, it's going just well. How are you?
I am doing good. Here to Chew Bubblegum, episode number 30, roundtable number 2.
I'm excited.
Oh, I am very excited. We're going to introduce our guest in just a moment.
You know, we're going to have an excellent show today.
Yeah, of course. We always have an excellent show.
Well, I mean, just the sheer talent that's with us today.
Yeah. Well, your voice sounds a lot better today, too.
It does. Well, I feel a lot better than I did last week.
Good. You don't look like the Mucinex booger anymore.
Well, thanks.
You're welcome. You want to tell us about something going on in July, correct?
I sure do. At the end of July, the Pikeville Comic and Toycon, their website is www.pikevillecomiccon.net, and they have a Facebook page, or contact the e-store Comic and Tech Shop on Facebook, or call 606-263-4946. And that's going to be at the end of July. I think July 31st. July 31st.
We will be there.
We will be there, and we will be kind of mingling about with the folks. So if you see us, come say hi. We'd love to talk to you.
Sounds good. You want to go ahead and introduce the guest, or you want me to?
Sure. To my immediate right.
Straight across the table from me. Oh, you mean you want to do it? Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, man. Sorry.
To my immediate right, looking mighty spooky, is Elliot, as always.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you may be listening. It's Elliot with the Spooky Family Podcast.
I think if we just stare at him, maybe he'll keep going.
We may.
You can visit us at spookyfamilypodcast.com. Please visit us.
I thought it was .net.
We do have a .net.
Oh, okay.
But we have .net.org and .com.
Oh, really?
I bought them all, so
there you go. There you go.
Well,
I'm making sure nobody
there.
Yeah.
And then straight across from me there, to your immediate left, my fine feathered friend, is Justin with Talk Junkie. How you doing today?
Very good. Thank you guys for having me.
Oh, thank you for being here. It's always great to have somebody from my hometown on the show in Bunker Studios. Go ahead, say something.
I'm going to say that.
All right. But Justin is with Talk Junkie. We've been talking about him for a while now. I actually had a telephone interview with you a while back. Just unexpected, so hopefully you didn't mind us just calling you out of the moment like that.
No, I think it's pretty apparent if they listen to my podcast or if they heard me, I like to talk. So at any opportunity, plus you guys, because of the group nature of what you guys do, like you guys get to have this interaction I don't get to have on mine, and it has really changed my outlook on what I want to do podcast-wise. I initially wanted to start out with a group, and it didn't kind of pan out, and we ended up losing one of those individuals, but it's so fun to listen, but to actually get to be a part of it, even on that phone in, I loved it.
We are very glad you're here, very glad Elliot's here. We're going to start out with some listener email.
We sure are.
I'll start first, and then whoever wants to go second, just start reading away. Jerry from Ohio says, "Hey guys, I've listened since the first show, and this is the first time that I've written in. Great show last week. Old man Cronkite and Pamela did a great job. It was
They did. I want to mention that real quick. How are you related to them? I know you can't be directly related to them.
Actually, that's his dad.
He was very charismatic.
He is a great guy.
What are you saying there, Elliot?
Listen, this is the first time I saw you, and you keep telling people I'm from the future. So
You are from the future.
I am, and I know how you die. So that's all I'm saying.
The voice gave it away.
Yeah.
When I heard the other voice,
Yeah.
I was like, okay, because apparently I sound a lot like my dad, and I don't hear it,
Right, no,
but I hear it on your end. Definitely.
Now, listen, they did an excellent job, and that's what I was going to say. I want to invite them to my podcast when we get the podcast going, because I know you've got some scary stories.
Well, definitely, yeah. And Pamela also has quite a few interesting stories.
We didn't get a chance to get into them last week.
I want so don't let me steal those.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, no problem.
So,
Well, I mean, we're going to take some of them, obviously.
well, I mean, yeah, but the good ones keep.
We are here to chew bubblegum, so I mean.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean,
and-
I've got bubble gum, you know.
It was good to have their opinion and input. Can't wait for the roundtable. Thank you very much, Jerry from Ohio. Before anybody goes next, I want to ask you something right now that we've had some listeners email and ask. Once you do get going with the Spooky Family podcast, you're still going to do Elliot's articles.
I hope so,
Good.
if you all let me.
Yes, we definitely want you to. We don't want to lose that.
Yeah, I don't want this to be like, there's one podcast here and there's one podcast here. I want it to be like a group. If you're feeling conspiracy or UFO-y, you listen to Here to Chew Bubblegum. But if you're feeling ghosty, come over to the Spooky Family. And like we're not only going to be talking about ghosts, creepypasta, anything spooky. And Missing 411. Have you all been watching the Missing 411 stuff? That is amazing. And we're definitely going to be, touching on that. Just all kinds of different stuff. But we don't plan on, here's the thing. I don't want to take any listeners and say they're my listeners.
Right.
I want them to be our listeners. You know what I'm saying?
I think we're all family.
Yeah, definitely. Exactly. And that's why, I told my wife and my brother-in-law, I was like, if Goose and Cronkite say no, we're not doing it. That's really the mindset I had. But you guys were more than accommodating, and I appreciate it. And, I want to make sure that we're promoting you and, just a big happy family.
Going to promote you. And Cronkite's had an idea of us getting an app and having our show on it, your show on it, Talk Junkie on it.
I think that's great.
Something that we may do.
Kind of like a Here to Chew Bubblegum network, and then have, the archive, all of the our shows, Elliot's shows, Justin's show, whoever wants to be a part of it. And then that way, anytime anybody wants to go and listen to whatever show you want to listen to, it's there.
Well, that's the thing too. I've been out of town, and my job takes me different places, and they have a building full of people who do their own podcast, but they work together. And imagine if we could get an Eastern Kentucky podcast network where we're not hurting anybody, we're helping everybody.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's what I would love to see. I would love to see that happen.
Well, you would have a lot of shows that may not fall in the realm of what you guys do. But in regards to you guys coming on and filling in the other day and doing that, it feeds so well into what this show is to begin with. And then, just from listening to that, you can kind of tell, as an outsider looking in, vice versa, this show's going to feed in. So they're going to be really complementary to each other. And, I don't think you'd look at people. There's 24 hours in the day. You've got plenty of time listening to podcasts.
Exactly.
And, when one complements the other like that, it makes it a more involved topic. You guys may even cross paths on similar topics, but you've only got so much time to get it out on your show.
Right.
What you want to say, they've only got so much time.
Right.
So, when you can take it, because I do that. If I find a topic I'm interested in, there may be podcasts I don't generally listen to, but I think it's Parcast. They have a huge network of shows.
Yeah, they do.
And I listen to a ton of their stuff, like conspiracy theories, and then there's the new one about this guy was the fake CIA agent I'm obsessed with. But you can kind of cross-pollinate,
Is that John Lashley?
It could be. I
so.
don't have the greatest memory in the world, and I've just started listening to it. I think the episode 4 is Monday.
Yeah, I've been listening to that one too.
It's infectious. But, I kind of just bop around on whatever topic, and I think multiple shows gives you that option.
Well, that's the thing. I listen to professional wrestling podcasts. I'm a fan of professional wrestling.
Me too.
So, I listen to all kinds of Conrad Thompson's
I
podcasts.
love Conrad.
Yeah, and Jim Cornette. I listen to
Jim Cornette's got a great one.
But so
you have no clue what we're talking about, do you?
No, I'm just
sticking in the mud.
Smiling and nodding.
But then, I also listen to a lot of podcasts that deal with my job. I listen to a lot of
Time
podcasts.
travel.
Yes, time travel. That's exactly right.
You came here in the DeLorean. I seen it out front.
I did.
He came from the year 3062. He was trying to get a what was it? Coffee shop startup?
Yes.
Okay.
Coffee shop. Okay. Yeah. I wanted to come back and do Bob Lazar's nuclear hardware store.
Yeah.
If we don't have a T-shirt to sell at the Comic-Con that says Bob Lazar's, I'm going to be very upset with you guys.
Well, we're going to try to get one of those and one that says "I'm sorry, Stephen."
Yep.
Yeah, definitely. And have a picture of a novel that's this thick and be like, "I'm
just
sorry,
sitting
Stephen."
on top of him.
I think that would be awesome.
Now, I'm often a skeptic, and Lazar is one of those situations where I go, But now something I believe, as you had said, and I feel the same way about people that make money off these things. Lazar dodged making money off that figure.
Yeah.
He really did. He really did. And as much as I like to question everything to 1,000%. That was the one thing I was like, no, man, Lazar really didn't. He did dodge it for a.
Yeah. Well, and even still yet, he's still trying to just live under the radar, and all of these documentaries and interviews, and they keep finding him. You know, and even to this day, every time he mentions element 115, he gets raided immediately. Unobtainium, yeah.
Oh, who wants to go next?
So Dixon09 says, great show last week, guys. Cronkite's dad is hilarious, and Pamela has one of the sexiest voices that I've ever heard. I hope they come back soon. Roswell.
I agree.
And you know what? I'm going to go the opposite way. Your dad has one of the sexiest voices I've ever heard.
Well, Elliot, he will appreciate that.
You tell him that he has a fan.
I was impressed that Cronkite's voice is like that in person himself. He has a very radio voice.
So in case you all missed that, Justin just said Cronkite's voice is sexy.
It is somewhat sexy. And, you know, I mean, at least he got that from his dad. He didn't get the humor, but that's okay.
At all, no. And it is weird how many shades of red that Cronkite is turning at this point.
Yeah.
Moving on. Hey, thanks for
saying.
filling in for us, there, Spooky Family.
Hey,
you
you're
all did a
welcome.
great job. I listened to the show, and I
You guys
loved
did
it.
do a great job.
I loved it.
Well, I appreciate that. And I'm glad you listened to it, considering we filled in for you and we're trying to help you out. I'm glad you listened.
Honestly, that's probably the only show that he's listened to.
That's a fact.
Well, listen, that's the funniest thing was I heard Goose say on the next podcast, he was like, "Now you ain't listened to it yet," and I was like, "What?
Yeah.
What? What do we do to you?"
So here's the thing. I have the job that I work. I'm not usually alone, and I want to listen. When I listen to something, I want to listen to it.
I got you.
So I only am able to listen to, actually listen, say, on the weekend, like Thursday and Friday. So then that's when I get to it. So by the time that the original podcast is recorded, I haven't listened to it.
I got it. I totally understand, man. Don't worry about it. I'm one of those people, too. Like, when Elliot's articles comes on, I just fast forward.
Do you really?
Yeah, I
Why?
really do. I can't listen to myself.
I can't listen to myself.
I thought we were supposed to during Elliot's article. Is that not?
That's it. That's the bathroom
No,
break.
go to the bathroom.
That's the
go to the
bathroom
bathroom.
break.
That's the bathroom
Yeah, that's
break.
absolutely.
I'm the same way. I don't listen to my own podcast.
I can't listen to myself. My voice is like nails on a chalkboard to my brain.
It is.
I do listen to this podcast and our radio show podcast,
That's
or
because-
our radio shows.
Well, that's because you like to hear yourself talk and smell your own farts. That's your thing.
That is not it.
Well, that's the
100%.
responsible thing to do is to go back and check everything's right. I just can't make myself do it.
That is exactly right. You know, I go back to make sure, you know, that everything translated like it was supposed to, all the music, all the, you know. I mean, even though I check it out while I'm editing it and putting it together, I still go back and listen.
That way we
Just
don't sound like
so I
fools.
can learn. No, honestly, you know, just so I can, you know, if there's something that I can improve on, I will do that the next one.
Does anybody see how defensive he's getting?
Hey, buddy.
I'm so glad there's other people here because usually it's one-on-one and I back down. But like now, I feel like I've got.
No, man, listen.
You
Charge
just
on.
don't have nothing to come back with usually.
Well, now I'm riled up. Let's do it.
I do a podcast with my wife. You want to talk about backing down, buddy? I'm like, she's, you know.
Yeah.
As soon as she says no, I'm like, all right, sounds good.
You got it. You're absolutely right.
Did you?
I've got one, yeah.
Okay.
So, Jake, not from State Farm. On the next roundtable show, you should talk about Ronald Reagan and UFOs, Roswell.
And that is one of the subjects we'll be talking about when we start the show. Justin, you're up.
Stephen from North Carolina. Wait, no. I was going to say that. Dempsey. Hey, Goose and Cronkite, we need more conspiracy theories for the roundtable show.
And we will definitely have that one as well.
I'm looking at a whole stack of conspiracy theories. that
Well,
Cronkite
no,
has.
that's Steven's email.
Oh, okay, my bad. My bad.
Let's see. Mike from Kentucky says, hey, guys, who would like a good drink? What is your favorite liquor? For me, it's a variety of 40% alcohol brandy.
Sure.
I'm not much of a drinker, but I would say Miller Lite.
I was sober for 10 or 12 years. Absolutely nothing. And since that, I've maybe drank twice, and it's been Buffalo Trace both times. So I would have to say Buffalo Trace, but I despise beer.
Yeah, I don't drink at all, but Dr. Pepper, zero sugar. That's really good.
That stuff is awesome.
I can go with the Dr. Pepper.
That stuff is awesome.
It tastes identical to regular Dr.
Yes,
Pepper.
it does.
And this is not a commercial. I'm not getting paid for that, but that's awesome.
I'm probably just going to go with screwdrivers. I think they're all right.
Your whole life is a
Listen,
screwdriver.
vodka, you can't go wrong with vodka.
You might as well eat a potato while you drink it.
That's fine.
Okay. Go ahead.
Get him,
Richard.
Cronkite. Get him.
I don't know what he's getting at here.
Read your next one.
I don't drink a whole lot. This Goose.
You look like Mr. Potato Head.
Lucas from Kentucky says, "Hey Goose, Cronkite, Ned, and Elliot. My dad is having aorta leakage, and it's really severe. Please pray. He's raised me since 4 years old, and I'm begging regardless. If anyone gets upset for doing it on this, please forgive me. But I'm desperate. Yeah. Definitely lift you up in my prayers, Lucas.
Same here.
Father.
Same here.
Absolutely. So was it funny? Hold on, I'm not to mention this before I get to it.
No, it was not funny. That was
that wasn't.
That was a
serious
serious email.
But was it funny
wrong
that
with you?
we got medical advice questions on the show? That was pretty funny.
Yeah,
I was like, man, we can't tell you what to do. What do you want us to do? But anyway, Lambdo. Hey, Croncat, Goose, Elliot, and Ned. There is an out there question, but would you bang an alien chick? I'll listen for your answer, Roswell.
Yes, this is Cronkite, and absolutely yes.
This will be one that will cut off the radio show when we broadcast this on the radio show.
100%. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure if you meet any of my ex-girlfriends, it's possible I've met some alien chicks. Yeah.
I'm going on 19 years of marriage. I don't want to be miserable on two planets.
No.
Goose?
No.
Oh.
Smartest answer out of all of us.
So far it's just me.
It's just you.
All right, let's do it. More for me.
With that sexy radio voice.
But what if she looked like a dog?
But, I mean, I will be the first person to...
What if she looked like Bigfoot?
Nail an alien chick.
I really don't know what to say after that.
There's nothing you can't say.
There's somebody out there can say the same thing about Anna Nicole Smith, and they're not proud of it now. So that initial pride could fade real quick. Let's see. Nicholas from Virginia. Hello, everyone. It's my first time writing in. I really enjoyed the show last week. Old Man Cronkite and Pamela are ear candy. Roswell.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they are. 100%. Yeah.
If you need to know what ear candy is, that is the best version right there.
Yes, it is.
Very much so.
Tiffany from Kentucky says, "Hey, here to chew bubblegum for the round table. I'd like to hear about the secret space program. Thanks. And keep searching for the truth, Roswell, my friends." And you will be hearing about that in this show.
Sure will. Shane from Texas says, "I love researching the Sphinx. The hole in the head was definitely there. I have seen pictures of the hole. Why would they seal it up if the Sphinx full of tunnels, and why is it not reported? Radar has said there is a void under the left paw. There is definitely more behind the Sphinx than is reported. I reckon anything that was in the Sphinx or under the paw of the Sphinx has already been taken out and stored away in a Raiders of the Lost Ark style warehouse." Why was everybody giggling?
Can you read that again?
I will not.
No. Okay.
If you have a lot of interest in the Sphinx, check out Dr. Randall Carlson's research on that. He, in my opinion, just looking at any method you could use to date that, his method is far and away probably the best, and he's adding a couple of thousand years to that dating. I don't think they're very accurate on their original dating. Problem is, you can't really question Egyptologists.
Yeah.
If you do, even if they're completely wrong. It's been proven many times in the past that they are completely wrong, but if you question them, they kind of shut you out and you don't have access to anything because it's a really political deal over there. They own it, they run it, and they dictate who gets to come in there, and Dr. Carlson's got to go back numerous times, but I think his association with Graham Hancock has kind of soured a little bit of their relationship. But, I mean, he has the most compelling timeline for that to me, which I've always been a pretty big believer in civilization being much older than what we assume it is.
Right, and then what was it? It's something like they originally think that the Sphinx is 12,000.
No, they want to kind of keep it to right around within that 6,000 to 8,000 range, somewhere around. With the discovery of Göbekli Tepe, that kind of pushes back civilization a little bit further. What they've discovered, and they want that to be newer than Göbekli Tepe, and I think Göbekli Tepe is looking right around 8,000 to 10,000 years ago.
Okay.
I read something about 9,500, something like that.
That definitely could be more accurate than what they thought back in the 80s and stuff like that. It's the water damage that Carlson's looking at, and that could put it in excess of. Carlson and Hancock have this theory about the Younger Dryas period right around 10,500, 11,000 years ago. Or maybe it's 11,500 to 12,000 years ago. And we've got pretty good evidence of some ice melting sheets and stuff, and they're dating it to that time or older.
Okay.
So, John from the future state of Indiana. No, wait. Okay. Is it John from the future state of Indiana, or is it John from the future state of Indiana, which would put him in the past? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
How does he have internet?
I've not met him at any of the conventions, the time traveling conventions. But hey, HTCBG, Time Travelers is my recommendation for the next roundtable show. Also, I'm a huge, huge fan of last week's guest. They did a great job, Roswell.
Well, we actually have a real live time traveler with us today. We'll be talking about time travel.
Right, and I knew you were going to say that because I've heard that before.
Yeah. And you keep saying you've seen The Way I Die. Do you actually kill me?
Bison night at Jenny Wiley State Lodge. Just don't go. If Goose invites you, just do not go. That's all I'm saying.
Let's see. Roman from Kentucky. I am a healthy human male with a functioning digestive system. I have flatulated 28 times so far today. Is this normal? I think those numbers are subpar, but I don't think I would go to the doctor.
Yeah.
When did we become the medical show?
I don't know.
The WebMD
Is
certified jackass.
do you want to take that one? You have a lot in common with Roman.
What are you talking about?
Well, he farts a lot.
Yeah, you're the only one who makes fart jokes on this show, not
Dude,
me.
I make jokes. You actually do it.
Dude, it's recorded on camera that you have literally farted on me 4 times.
No.
Yeah.
No. I don't even know what you're talking about.
You are disgusting human.
Can I say I missed the midweek moment?
No, you can't. Pop down.
I'm the
over
only
there.
person that, like, I miss
Yeah,
it.
he actually emailed that too. So
I miss the
we are going to have some stuff coming up soon. The Rando Nautica. We'd love to have you guys do that with us if you want to.
So Beagle, my brother-in-law, he has offered that anything you want to do that may be dangerous in any way, he'll do it. Like, just let him know. And
Well, I
Will
wanted
he
to,
eat dog food?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he does anyway. So his name is Beagle. That's all I'm gonna say.
We wanted to redo the lightning with a kite on a key string experiment.
We call that Tuesday.
Okay. Well, there we go.
It's whatever you want to do.
If he's open, there is a hole in Letcher County. I don't know if you guys have ever heard this. This supposed bottomless pit, one of the numerous
Oh
ones
yeah, up
Pine
on
Mountain.
Lonesome. Yeah.
We actually talked about that on the show a little bit.
Yeah, that.
Do you know where that's at?
I know where the one that I guess not the one they dropped the die in, but the one that the state police had to go check out back, I guess, 70s or 80s. Because I work with a gentleman that's on his grandparents' property. It has a false bottom to it now. So much stuff has fell in and stuff.
Right.
And I don't know how accurate the depictions of the depth of it are. But the one in the train tunnel is one that always got me going from Jenkins, the abandoned train tunnel going from Jenkins. My understanding is they never could fill that up. I guess they just laid track right over it. I don't know if you can get to that now or not.
Wow.
That's pretty cool.
That is very cool.
So I say we get some rope and a GoPro, and we can
And a
put my
big one.
brother-in-law right down in that hole.
Sounds good to me. I want to thank all of our listeners for writing in. You can always call, text, or leave a voicemail by calling 606-373-3396, or you can email.
Email Goose at here@chewbubblegum.com or Croncat at here@chewbubblegum.com. You can reach Ned or Elliot at here@chewbubblegum@yahoo.com. Please put in the subject line, attention Ned or Elliot. We also have a Facebook page, a YouTube page, a TikTok page, a Twitter page, and an Instagram page. You can email, message, call, summon us, whatever you'd like.
I've not seen any dances by Goose on the TikTok page yet.
That was his idea, and he said he was going to
I
dance.
heard him say it.
And we will be putting some stuff up. I won't be dancing.
You will be dancing. That's what that's what TikTok's all about.
Yeah, but I've not put you in a corner, baby.
What?
I carried a watermelon.
He's too young for that.
Yeah.
I dyed my hair. I'm white-headed. I dyed my hair to avoid those comments from Croncat.
I have no idea what you people are talking about.
Never mind.
I carried a watermelon?
Are you all old?
We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the secret space program and conspiracy theories.
So secret you can find it on the internet.
That's my favorite kind of secret.
You're listening to Here to Chew Bubblegum. We'll be back in just a few moments.
When you want fresh, authentic Mexican food, you want El Picante in Coal Run. Dine on sizzling hot fajitas, the freshest pico de gallo, or if you're craving their secret ingredient jalapeno dip, the only place you'll find it is El Picante. Look, there are Mexican restaurants on every corner. The difference is in the mouth-watering food and the great service you'll get at El Picante in Coal Run. Visit El Picante for lunch today.
Hey, this is Jennifer the Puppet. You're listening to Here to Chew Bubblegum with my boyfriend, Cronkite.
And welcome back. Little original NWA wrestling music to bring us back there.
Rest in peace, Don Carnoodle.
Oh, yes. Les Thatcher.
Yeah.
So you have no clue, do you?
I'm just happy to be here.
Okay.
That was wrestling.
Wrestling.
Not wrestling. That was
Wrestling.
That's what I enjoy. That's wrestling music.
Hey, Cronkite, say something funny.
No. I can't wait till I get my own sound stuff.
You're not going to get one. You are not allowed to have one.
I'm getting some.
No,
I'm getting sound effects.
no, you are not.
Don't you worry about that.
No, you are not. No, you're
He'll
not.
make his own.
Yeah.
Oh,
Womp womp.
what?
Womp womp. See, that was just. I'm that good.
You are. We're going to start out talking about the secret space program.
My favorite.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Well, go ahead and start us out then.
Well, long time ago, there was a space guy, and he met a space woman, and they
Had a space baby.
had a space baby, and that's how it started.
Okay. A lot of people think that public knowledge became available with the secret space program when Gary McKinnon, are you guys familiar with Gary McKinnon, the computer hacker?
The white hat hacker.
Yes. And we've talked about him on the show before. Do you remember?
Yes, and if he's the one I'm thinking about,
He was the guy from Scotland.
yeah, he looks a little bit like an alien.
No, dude, the guy has Asperger's disease, and you're making fun of him.
That's extremely offensive.
That is very cold.
That's
very
heartless.
Pretty sure Asperger's doesn't affect your physical
Well,
appearance.
I don't know. I mean,
you're still making fun of somebody.
my son has it, and you know he is attractive like me, but still, that's
When did we become the medical show?
I don't like this.
Why?
I don't like
well,
any of this.
You're the one
I
that
don't
made
like
the
it.
comment.
You know what? I'm going to look him up, and I'm going to prove to you that he looks like an alien.
He does not look like an alien. Well, anyway, from February 2001 to March 2002.
Cronkite has admitted that he's attracted to aliens. So.
Well, yeah. He would bang an alien chick.
And puppets, apparently. So.
But anyway,
Yeah, look at this. Look at this guy.
He does not look like an alien, man.
He looks like a human hybrid.
Really?
he looks nothing like Elon Musk.
Yeah. No, Elon Musk is a clone.
I say he's a hybrid.
So,
This guy is definitely an alien-human hybrid.
well then go ahead and tell us about Gary.
I don't know anything about him. I'm just saying he looks like an alien-human hybrid.
He looks like somebody from Scotland.
He looks like you.
What? Huh?
I thought you were going to talk about the secret space force or
Well,
something.
you won't shut up and give me long enough to.
I mean, I wish you would
to
just
do
go
that.
and stop talking.
Anyway, from February 2001 to March 2002,
He was born in 1966.
Gary McKinnon, using the name Solo, hacked NASA computers.
Computer hacking is what he's known for.
And when he got into the computers, he found some very intriguing information.
His mom was Janice Sharp.
Okay.
His dad was Charlie McKinnon.
Go ahead. Please go on. Please continue.
He graduated from Highgate Wood School. I'm assuming that's a high school. That's all. That's all I can find on.
Oh, okay. All right.
And he was Janice Sharp was from Zeta Reticuli, and Charlie was from
Glasgow.
Eastern Tennessee.
Well, Eastern Tennessee.
That's how he became a thing.
Well, Gary claimed that he wanted to get into the computers to try to find out some secret government information about technology for free energy. Once inside, he found some very interesting pictures from the Johnson Space Center of a cigar-shaped object. And he also saw a list, let me make sure, a non-terrestrial officers list, which listed officers that were qualified to fly non-terrestrial planes, such as the TR-3B.
So now, the non-terrestrial officers, these are not alien officers. These are humans that are
flying supposed
spacecraft.
Yes. Okay. Well, what ARVs I think is what they call them.
Okay.
But anyway, he got the idea from a book written by Donna Hare, who was a former NASA contractor, who claimed that she did do like film developing, in the 70s, and removed pictures, from Building 8 of the Johnson Space Center. And the TR-3B, was really public pictures of the TR-3B didn't come out until after Gary hacked the NASA computers. So with all that information, people claimed that he found a secret space program.
Well, I mean, we've said for a while, though, that we thought there was a secret space program that was started in the 40s.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I mean, with the Nazis.
There was the whole, Elliot's articles about Planet Serpo. Did you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good one.
I'm sorry, I was in the bathroom at that time.
I know, that's why I brought it up. I need some people out there to know about it. But my favorite thing about Gary McKinnon, before we move on to the content, is he didn't hack these computers using his own computer. No. The man was smart enough to use his girlfriend's aunt's computer.
Mm.
And he used like just a simple, basic IT,
So, like, when did he hack these? Was it like the early 90s or something?
No, the first time was February 2001.
Okay, so it was early 2000.
And he did it all the way up until he got caught March of 2002.
Wow.
And you have to think about that timeline for a second, because what happened in September of that year?
Right.
And then to think that he still had pretty much free access to the government's computers after that is kind of mind-blowing,
Yeah, that is crazy.
Yeah. So, he
and-
was posting pages that just said, your security is crap. And that's all he would post it. So they would get on and it'd just say, your security is crap. That's what.
Well, maybe I need to throw one of these articles away then.
Why?
I don't think it's a conspiracy any longer.
Okay. Well, I was going to mention this
now
too.
a fact.
Yeah.
I was going to mention this too. And I've been doing this for the last couple of months, and I was going to mention this to you and forgot. You can search a subject on Google, and then you can search that same subject on DuckDuckGo.
Yep.
DuckDuckGo is a lot better search engine.
I have no idea what that is.
It's just a search engine. It's on my phone. It's all that I use.
Yeah, I have it on my phone as well.
You know how when you go into Google and you go type something in and it's got the predictive text, it's going to... Well, it also does that somewhat based on your patterns of activity on any of their platforms, because you realize Google owns YouTube, they own Gmail, and it on the least sinister level of it, it's just giving you what it thinks you want to see instead of kind of what would pop up if you just searched. Secondly, they also filter out a lot of things, and this is in no way, I'm not trying to talk about this conspiracy, I'm not saying I believe this. The best example is the doctor in Florida that died after getting the COVID shot. If you looked that up on Google, it did not exist. If you looked it up on DuckDuckGo, it was there first page. But there's a lot of things like that, and especially things that are more government-oriented. A lot of people are kind of under the impression that the government is allowed to kind of influence what pops up, what comes, because a lot of companies help them, and they give them criteria of which to search by, and that kind of alters their search. It's not that it's always some sinister thing they're doing. It's just kind of how their program is set up, whereas DuckDuckGo is rudimentary, like an old school search engine. You type it in, it literally search for those words and phrases that you put in.
I think that Google may censor some stuff, whereas DuckDuckGo wouldn't.
Oh, they definitely censor a lot of things, and they're fairly open about it. They do censor a lot of things,
but DuckDuckGo doesn't.
Yeah, they're and also DuckDuckGo does not track your IP address, your position, anything of that nature. When you go into DuckDuckGo, you can go to Amazon.com from DuckDuckGo, and it will not have the back paper trail back to you. Whereas if you go through Google to there, you've got the Amazon side tracking you, and you've got Google tracking you. Once you're done on DuckDuckGo, there's a little fire emblem at the bottom. You hit it, burns everything that you've been on, and gets rid of it.
Things are starting to make sense now. My recent Google searches. But anyway.
You're going to quit using Wikipedia.
Also, fun fact about Gary McKinnon, he hacked them using a 56K dial-up computer.
Yes.
What, you don't want me to... I don't use... The only time I use Wiki is if... Or like Wikipedia is if it's like... Just to get the basic information. I don't use that for everything.
Okay. So when did you stop?
I never have.
Okay.
I don't understand. Well, are you calling me a shit researcher? Is that what you're saying?
No, I didn't say that.
Oh, that's your ass. That's what you can do.
Let's see. Some top 5 secret space programs. Solar Warden. Elliot, what do you think about Solar Warden?
I mean, I'm very skeptical of all these space programs. Let me just throw that out there to begin with. I don't know, man.
Well, that one leaks back to that was not known until Gary McKinnon hacked the NASA computers.
Right. He say that he, like, one of the things that he found, and I'm going by memory here, but he got Excel sheets that had the names of people, but he didn't have a clue. Like, he couldn't find names of ships or whatever.
Right.
But he said there were how was it said? There were transfers with other people, other organizations, or other life forms, I think. But it's not stated that way. I can't remember what it was said. But here's the thing.
There were fleet-to-fleet transfers.
Okay. Yeah. So, but here's the thing that I don't understand about this. So, I get that there might be a secret program out there, but how do you hide it? Because I'm going.
Okay.
Listen,
right.
I'm back to this. Okay, like the only way to keep a secret between two people is to kill one of those people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Be a part of the secret.
Or be a part of it.
Well, but here's the thing: how do you keep it a secret? But how we know nothing about space. The civilian satellite or the civilian telescopes and satellites that we have in orbit are only seeing about 10% of the sky.
Right.
So I mean, you could hide in plain sight and not ever see it.
Well, I mean, okay, I don't want to jump in on anything because I know you've got stuff planned.
Right.
But there is the dark side of the moon. There is the whole ideal that there could be stuff there, and I get that. I totally do. And we talked a little bit about this when we talked about. We had that great email on the show that we hosted from the guy whose grandpa was
worked at NASA.
That was amazing. And if you all get an email from that, I'd love to hear that.
Oh, yeah, definitely. He's not emailed back yet.
But he said that there were people already on, or things already on the moon when he got there. I understand all this, and I agree with, like, I know this is the conspiracy, like, that we're talking about, but here's the thing. I'm very skeptical about anything to do with a space program that's we wouldn't know about.
Okay.
I mean, think about it like this. When Trump announced Space Force, everybody was like, you're stupid, blah, 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 and all this. So was he just announcing something that was already in place? You get what I'm saying?
Right.
No, I think probably giving a public face to something that was already there. As far as keeping it secret, that's not real hard. Line up 20 people on the street and ask them what the Kardashians did last week, and they can tell you. Ask them what their leaders did last week, and they have no clue. Some of them may not know who their governors are, their mayors are. People are, their ignorance is bliss. They're delightfully uninformed. So hiding something like that, to me, the most, from just researching, because this was fairly new to me, outside the Star Wars program, things of that nature, I'm familiar with that. I believe any presence we have in space would be hard for the common person to prove, and I believe we most definitely have been investing and funneling money into that. The surprising part to me was that he found any of this information from NASA. Predominantly civilian organization, they're not going to have a lot of this. If anything, to me, that's more of a look, here's some crumbs, take this and play with this. I'm going to say whoever's running that is going to be a lot higher up. And I think maybe the formation of something like this Space Force is a way to not have to do so much black budget funding and be able to kind of put a little more money out in the light. That way, look, we're still from September 10th, 2001, we are still looking for, I forgot how many trillions of dollars that went missing in black budgets that we couldn't show.
We just never mentioned that again. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like, we
you
just-
know,
But and I'm going back to this, and I'm sorry. I don't mean to take up
No, you're totally fine.
But, and it's just, to me, it seems like the government can't. Like, I go back to this. The government can't get stimulus checks out to people who, like, aren't dead. You know what I'm saying? They're sentenced. So I don't think they could keep a multi-billion or trillion-dollar Space Force secret for as long as they did. And I do think that if they had that information, they wouldn't have put it on a computer that could be hacked by a 56K dial-up modem.
Well, and I totally get where you're coming from, but the TR-3B, you saw pictures of that. Have you saw pictures of that?
No.
Okay. That made appearances in the mid-'80s.
Right.
And people thought it was a spacecraft not from this world.
Popular Mechanics were the first people to post that.
Post a picture. And it looks like, and we've even talked about it on the show before, there was an Unsolved Mysteries episode where the artist depiction was a TR-3B.
Right.
And I think there was some police officers from Ohio who actually chased it, for several miles. And
but that's Ohio.
yeah, but just, all right. Now, and the Space Force always existed. I think it started in the 80s under the branch of the Air Force. But what Trump did is just made it its own solo branch.
To do what you're saying, to have more of a public. Yeah. They've made it so long without being seen. The easiest way to hide is in plain sight. Let's just throw this out here. It's a lot easier to just get it out. But, as far as them worried about how they run our day-to-day lives, we have very little meaning to them outside of what money we can produce them. Right. But when it comes to putting money into something black budget, especially like a space defense program, take any conspiracy or alien element out of it whatsoever. What's the biggest benefit to being in space and having that superiority in space? That is missile launches from other countries. So that's probably the catalyst to this more than anything. And then from there you can go, okay, what else can I do? But if that's the case and it exists, it is going to be the most top secret thing you got going at the time, because you don't want Russia to know your missiles are useless. You don't want China to know your missiles are useless. Let them run in circles and keep doing what they want to do. So, and you look at how eager, even though inept they are at it, China is to get into space at this point.
Very true. And to Justin's point, as far as where the masses can tell you what reality show did what the night before, people like us who actually research and look and think and are not blissfully ignorant and are actively looking for the truth in all this BS that's been thrown at us are considered kooks.
There's that. There is a lot of disinformation out there that is purposefully put out there to keep people, blinded to what's going on. I agree 100% with that. But the Space Force is just something I cannot wrap, space, like the secret space program. Now, listen, you want to put me in, like, we'll talk about Roswell all day long. I believe something happened there. I just don't believe that we have hundreds and hundreds of people in space and we've kept it a secret since the 80s or the 70s or, whenever it's
the 40s, 60s.
And boys, I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm just saying I don't believe it's possible that they can do that.
Oh, yeah, I agree with that completely. Yeah, I don't think that's it. I think more or less it's probably in its infancy, and right now it's probably, NASA itself is hitching a ride to space with Russia because they don't have a program to get there until Elon gets his completely locked and loaded. So NASA itself budget is broke, but asteroid defense, missile defense, to me, when you talk secret space program, I kind of look beyond all this other stuff that's not provable, and I look at it more from that regards. And from that, something could grow into what kind of the conspiracy theory is that it is.
Yes, I do believe that the government I believe the Star Wars SDI research, I believe all that was true. I've talked to Cronkite about this. I don't know why we would need a space laser. Like I know it's supposed to be to shoot down, ballistic missiles or nuclear missiles. We have terrestrial weapons that can do that. But yeah, I believe that we're probably trying to militarize space. I guarantee. I guarantee that's true.
Well, you control the high ground.
But you did bring up something that makes me think that this is even worse. Like, it's just not possible, is the fact that we now have private citizens. We have Musk. We have other people who are putting things into space. How do you hide a Space Force when Elon down the road or, Virgin Air Flights are sending up rockets? Doesn't that make it harder?
That is true.
That's true.
But now, going back to what Goose is saying, the Space Force started in the 80s.
Yeah.
I think it started before that. I think when NASA became,
I think it started with Roswell.
Yeah, I think when NASA branched off in the 50s and became its own, that was the space agency, and the Air Force up to that point handled anything that was related to that. I think those folks in the Air Force were still continuing to do their thing, and that's where, if this current Space Force exists, probably is where that came from, because it's always been a military operation.
One of the things about NASA that always struck me is we go to the moon, we come back, and basically we don't even have the hardware, the ability. Mathematicians on the fly calculated that course there and back. That's how we got there. So apparently we don't have the ability to do it as well, even with modern technology as we did. But NASA doesn't have much of anything. They've not done much of anything. They've not really been involved with much of anything. It's that separation more than likely from the government and it becoming more privatized and more civilian that I would think maybe, our real space program is more than likely a black project space program.
Yeah, definitely. And going back to the privatized space travel, look at what happened to the airlines in the 70s when it was deregulated. You finally had a lot of small companies starting to come up, and airline is cheaper than ever now, or travel is cheaper than ever now.
But you're right. I'm not going to make a comment on what I was going to say.
Go ahead.
It had nothing to do with it. It was just a stupid comment.
Go ahead.
Well,
we're used to your stupid comments. Go ahead.
Thank you. Well, and you're totally right there. It is cheaper, but back years ago when people were going to board an airplane, they actually dressed nice.
Yes.
They they bathed, they didn't stink, and now you're getting on planes with somebody that looks like they've not brushed their teeth in 6 months.
That's exactly right. In some cases, there's chickens running the aisle. Depends on what part of the world you're in.
Well, I've never been on a commercial flight with a chicken, but I have been on with some people that's like, I'm sitting there wondering,
But your point is correct. 50s, 60s, even 70s, it was a big to-do to travel by air.
Yeah.
I wish it would get to that point again, but you're right. You're sitting next to somebody who's got sweatpants and a 2-day-old beer-stained T-shirt. It's disgusting. It's a horrible way to travel anymore.
And like I said, that had nothing to do with what we were talking about. But
no, I thought your stupid comment was going to be making fun of me in some way. So I'm glad it wasn't, and I will jump in with you and say I agree.
Okay. What's your thoughts, Elliot, on all the recent UFOs that have been spotted?
Okay, so it's not going to be a popular opinion among the listeners, but I don't think it's extraterrestrial. I think there's probably some kind of earthly, terrestrial reason behind all this. Again, disclosure, I know everybody wants disclosure to come, but disclosure is not going to come unless it makes a government some money. Money or power. Those are your two things. And I really don't see how, I just don't think it's extraterrestrial. I think those TikTok videos, those craft do crazy things. I agree. But how do we know it's not either our government or another government that has come up with some kind of drone that, can pull that off?
Well, no, I agree with you on that. I think a lot of the UFOs that we're seeing now are reverse engineered of something that's something that may have crashed.
Yeah, let me clarify my position on that. I'm not saying that everything is terrestrial, and there's no such thing as extraterrestrial beings or anything like, or EBEs. I'm not saying anything like that. All I'm saying is I think the current things, the things that are being released to the public, are not things that are actual extraterrestrial. And when I say that I don't believe real disclosure is coming, I really don't believe real disclosure is coming. I believe that they will use whatever they put out there to control our lives even more, or to make money, or to gain more power. That's what I'm saying.
Now,
I think the only way real disclosure happens is if a UFO lands on the White House lawn and there happens to be CNN, Fox News, and MSNBC there when it happens.
I've said that before. Like the only way they're going to actually say, "Yeah, hey, this is real," is if it's a very publicized. Hey, there's no denying this thing landed right here. Here it is.
I think anything that the government releases itself needs to be. We need to be very skeptical of, no matter what it is. Even if it's something we want,
right?
I think it needs to be. We need to say, why are they doing this? And why are they doing it now?
And it's a shame that we have to distrust our government like that, but we do have a little bit of a track record of being a little shady.
Well, I mean, the Founding Fathers, again, I go back to this. The Founding Fathers made sure there were things in the Constitution that said if our government started acting shady and started doing stuff, we were to, keep them in check.
Yeah.
We've moved away from that a little bit, I think.
We've moved away from that a whole lot.
But, I mean, so even back then, they knew, things happen. Power corrupts, absolute power corrupts, absolutely. I don't think this is real disclosure. June 1st is going to be a fun day for a lot of people, but not for me.
And that's something that's actually a little bit tricky, because that's when the report goes to the House and Senate.
Yeah.
The public report is supposed to be released June 25th. So, you've got you've got a little bit over 3 weeks there.
Right.
That
they can probably go back and redact whatever they wanted to.
Yeah, it's going to
be letting too much out.
I'd say our copy is going to be severely
redacted.
But going back to what you're saying, I think that the amount of sightings that we've had lately, I don't necessarily believe that they're all terrestrial or extraterrestrial. I think they're mostly terrestrial, because if there are that many species or that many ships visiting us, boys, we got a hub here or something, because there's a lot of sightings now.
And we've always said that, you've got some that are man-made.
Right.
And you've got some that are not man-made. And I totally agree with everything you're saying,
And I'm even moving away from the fact that I don't even know if I believe personally. Before I came into this, I always believed, Roswell was real. I believed all the stuff in the 40s, I believed was real.
Right.
But and by extraterrestrials. Now I'm moving towards the fact that I don't even think that it's people from space. We have the alternate dimension,
the multiverse.
Yes, and I keep thinking this may be more along the lines of what we're seeing, not exactly. And I know that sounds crazy.
No.
So what you're saying is not necessarily that people from outside of our world are traveling to us, but maybe people on a similar timeline but a different dimension occupying the same time and space.
Yes, I've been doing a lot of research into CERN and all this stuff lately, and just the fact that the frequency, you change the frequency a little bit and you're somewhere else. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And whenever you hear of these ships, you hear of that's the one thing. When you hear of UFO sightings, there's always something else with it.
Yeah.
It may not be reported together, but if you look in the news, there's always something else crazy happening at that time.
Well, no, that's interesting you said that, because it's very possible. Everything vibrates to its own frequency.
Right.
So if you match a frequency with a theoretical other dimension, time shift or even material shift could be theoretically possible, right?
Right. Well, I mean, to me, that explains, all of these Bernstein Bears, all of this theory.
We're kind of slipping in and out.
It's possible that we're not misremembering. It's just possible that it's moved.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That was another Earth.
It's shifted a little bit. And then you start talking about Bigfoot, or you start talking about, ghost or whatever. And I think maybe this is not all, maybe it's all interconnected, just in a way we're not seeing it. And, every time I hear of a Bigfoot sighting, there's usually UFO sightings like the previous week, during, or the week after. What if something is not supposed to be here, and then you have to send something after it to retrieve it and bring it back? It goes back to the Paintsville UFO sighting we always talk about.
What they were looking for at the river.
What were they looking for at the river? Roswell. Lightning storms and all. There's always lightning storms involved in this too. There's always some kind of weird weather. What are they looking for? Why were they there? It's just lately, and I didn't mean to hijack this topic.
Oh, dude, you're totally fine.
But to me, lately, it's all moved away from aliens, because I've got this feeling that if people are coming from space and they have that much technology, they're not going to make a deal with the people on Earth and be like, we'll keep secret and we'll give you stuff. They're going to come down and be like, this is ours. We'll take this. You all go over there. But if it's a multi-dimensional shift, you're not looking at somebody who's coming in to conquer. You're looking at yourself or people like you just a hair step away. Does that make sense?
Yes. It does make sense, and deja vu now makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, deja vu makes a lot more sense. Simulation theory makes a lot more sense when you look at it through that lens. And so, again, I go back to this whole disclosure thing. Maybe those are things that we're not capable of. But the dimension that vibrates just a little bit higher is capable of. And we just happen to catch a glimpse of that from here, every now and then.
That is an interesting thing.
I think you and I, I don't agree with most kind of outlooks on that, but I think you and I are pretty well right in the same pocket. I definitely believe that the stuff that's being released is most definitely drones that we own, or else they wouldn't be releasing them. That whole we're doing this because we have to thing, they don't do anything because they have to. They do it because they want to.
Well, and we talk about Stephen Greer a lot on the show, and he's even said in multiple of his documentaries, hey, the shadow government has the ability to launch a false flag operation of
Project Blue Beam, not Blue Book. Project Blue Beam.
Of a hoaxed alien invasion.
1983, the UN, when Reagan, basically said this is what we need on the Jimmy Kimmel show. When Clinton said this is, maybe what it takes. I do believe that the most money to be made is to be made during war.
Yes.
The most dangerous thing at this point to us is to go to war with China or to go to war with Russia. It really is dangerous. Russia alone, I think a lot of people have a misconceived fear of Russia. They're not much. I mean, militarily wise, as far as for us, it's not really much of an issue. You combine them with China, that becomes an issue. Yeah. China alone themselves are an issue. But a faked alien force is not really an issue. And in regards to actual UFOs, I don't believe everything that people see I believe there's a possibility it's something besides the government in certain cases. The thing I fall back to is, even though we may not be able to do it, we can at least mathematically produce the possibility for time travel. We can at least mathematically produce the existence of, or the possible existence of other realms, other universes. We mathematically can't get past the point of breaking the speed of light. And it's not the only way to go from point A to point B in space as far as we know. We don't know what a black hole actually is at this point. We don't know that there's other ways to get there. And I'm not saying that I don't think there's somebody could get to the point where they could find a more expedient way to travel through space. But if we just keep it to a mathematical level, to something provable, and for me to believe something that's kind of, I've lost all that innocence and that willingness to just go, okay, but maybe. I really do need a little bit of proof. And mathematically, as crazy as it sounds, you take sexually ambiguous creatures with no skin tone, we're reluctantly on the path to that at this point in time, surgery-wise.
Get me a little hot there. Talk about that. No skin tone.
Everything that's bad about our society right now, it's bad to be a male. It's bad to be a female. It's bad to be this skin tone. It's bad to be that skin tone. It's bad to say this thing, say that thing. Yeah. Neuralink's coming. We're not going to have to speak anymore. So you take a creature that doesn't speak, doesn't have a skin tone, doesn't have an identified sexuality. That just sounds like us in 100 years if we don't kind of get our heads out of our butts and do something about it. So, the time travel possibility looks even more possible
But
to me.
who
And
knows?
if all possibilities are out there, if there is a true multiverse where every action has a option A, option B, and there is a universe where option A happened, option B happened, all the way down through history, how do we know that these visitors aren't from a universe where all the bad options have happened or all the good options have happened?
Right.
And they need something that we have that they don't have, so they have to come here. And then you've got your bleeding over. One of the Spooky Family, plug. One of the Spooky Family podcast episodes that we're doing is shameless is a missing 411, where people go disappear every year in the national parks. And one of the theories is that First Nations people, Native Americans, felt that these areas were kind of, and I hate to be like this, but Stephen King had a plot point called The Thinning, where it was thin between worlds, where things could go back and forth. Mm-hmm. Well, one of the theories is that these national parks are national parks because we knew that there was thinning there. There was something that it would go back and forth. So that's why people disappear, and then you send searchers out, and they're never found, but you send searchers out again to the same places, and they're found later. They've wandered in and out of these places. Okay. So your ideal is where I've started to go to this. Like, you're right. You're absolutely correct. Everything that these beings are described as is what we're heading to, in my mind. So are they the ones who are trying to influence us to go to them? Does that make sense?
Or go the opposite way because it's not real fun.
Yeah. And so...
What if it's just natural evolution? What if that is what humanity is destined to turn into?
If evolution is real to any degree whatsoever, and I feel that there's proof there that it is, we are past the point possibly of an unaltered natural evolution. Your lighting, your air conditioned temperature, all those things take out anything that would be a natural course of change. The way our eyes work by this point, the way our skin tones work, the fact that we don't have hair, there's so many things we're making unnatural in our environment. It can't be a natural evolutionary process. It would have to be something completely altered. So if there was any point we got to that, it would be due to influences we put. There's a lot of foods out there, and this is not from some, because the sad thing is, what we may take as serious, a lot of people go, nah, that's just some crackpot. So, but if you want to look at real, quote unquote, mainstream documentation, there's a lady who just wrote a book. She's one of the nation's leading investigators on different chemicals we're putting into our systems and how those chemicals are impacting the growth and change of mankind. And I can't remember the it's not tofu, the one that's in everything. Soy basically is the anti-aircraft gun of masculinity. It is totally and completely eradicating that from and I know apparently with toxic masculinity, all masculinity is apparently bad these days. So Soy's doing an excellent job of eradicating it. It also has some pretty negative effects on women. When you look at soy and what it's all in, I mean, it's in everything. Yeah. It's not a matter of it's in 10% of your food or 20% of your food. As far as mass-produced food, you're looking at it becoming a supplemental part of almost 60 to 70% of that food. So chemically, we're doing a lot to alter who we are. And then one of the things about humans is this, to me, maybe more dangerous than anything, is mental evolution. To the point that no matter how you feel about real evolution, or physical evolution, mental evolution is, for lack of a better word to use the word evolution, it's 100%. I mean, that's what it is. Yeah. You look at trends in history and societal changes and societal influences. You look at a geographical area like Eastern Kentucky compared to an area like California, and you look at the mindset and all those different things, those different, you have differences, but you have a collective evolution of that as well. It's always said that today's Democrats would be far, far right at a certain time period, you know.
Lincoln's
because-
Republicans are Democrats from the 50s, and if you know, it always swings back and forth.
Yeah, you've got that change, that, you know, that societal change on how we look at things. So it's easy to see how you could start down a path to go, all right, for the next 10 generations, everybody's going to have a Pinocchio nose. I mean, I don't scientifically know how long it takes until finally the body just takes over and goes, well, they're not going to quit with this stupid nose till we just give them one, you know. So, you know, it's possible, you know. The science is there to say that it's possible.
Well, going back to, you're right. I mean, as far as natural evolution is not possible to its this point for us.
Yeah.
But with what you're saying, with the stuff that we put in our food and our herbicides and our pesticides and the asbestos and, you know, whatever it was that we were using back in the 60s, 70s, all of this stuff, all of these things have different chemicals that will affect us in some way. That's kind of what I'm getting at that's kind of what if that is our evolution? What if that is what we are turning into because of the things that we're doing instead of, which I'm pretty sure is exactly the same thing you're saying, but like we turn into these, what'd you say, sexually ambiguous, no skin tone, and just, you know, kind of frail.
We're getting ourselves there to that point, and it's something that we're doing, and we're getting there, and, you know, I don't know, maybe the future sucks. I mean, it's possible, and they're just coming back and going, those guys had it right. I mean, you know.
Stop. Stop what you're doing.
Maybe they're abducting the guys that get us to that bad spot.
Yeah, maybe.
I read a book. I read a book that was talking about all the abductions, and, you know, a lot of female abductions, they feel like they've been impregnated or, you know, whatever, and some theorize that the Greys have lost the ability to reproduce, and that the last time that it was possible was here. You know what I mean? And that's why you see they're not from space; they're actually from the future or from another dimension.
That was another impact of soy.
Yeah. Well,
was the low sperm count, and infertile eggs was another impact of soy.
Well, and that was one of the stories I talked about a while back. Was what were they called? The Mim?
Yeah,
the Mims or something. They were interdimensional beings, but they were the Greys essentially. So I mean, that sounds. I mean, that's very plausible from what we've discussed. I mean,
same books they're talking about shadow people. Are they shadow people, or are they visitors from other dimensions that are just, you happen to be in the house that they are in another dimension, and you see them out of the corner of your eye? You know what I mean? Like, because the frequencies. I'm sorry, Goose.
You're totally fine.
I know that this will be the last round table that I'm ever invited to, and I just want to tell you
have
all,
an open
Spooky
invite
Family
to every
Podcast, July 1st. Make sure
you
listening.
have an open invite to every round table. I'm gonna make this comment, and we'll move on to conspiracy theories.
okay.
Depending on what. Okay. Well, we may take a break and come back with conspiracy, and this will probably be a 2-part show.
Good, because I got to pee.
Okay.
That's for everybody who wants to know that.
Real quick, after June 21st or June 25th, June 1st, if disclosure does happen, think about all the apologies that people are going to have to give people who have said that they were abducted.
Oh yeah, no, they'll never get apologies.
No. I mean, you know, hey.
They have to admit something was wrong, and they're never going to do that.
Well, I mean, I just wanted to make that comment and leave you guys with something to think about.
June 25th is on a Friday. I'm going to throw this out here.
Mm-hmm. By Monday,
let's do a special show.
Okay.
Because I guarantee you what Cronkite just said. I almost used your given name there. I guarantee you what Cronkite just said is true. By Monday, we'll never hear about it again.
Nope.
I would say you're right. We're going to step away, take a break, come back, talk about conspiracy theories, Ronald Reagan, UFOs, and time travelers. I guess that'll be in part 2 of the round table. What are we listening to, Cronkite?
Well, you were listening to Here to Chew Bubblegum, and I'm listening to Here to Chew Bubblegum.
And we'll be back in just a moment.
Take a lighter look into the darker side of the world. Join Elliot, Gertie, and Beagle as they jump into the dark abyss of hauntings, serial killers, conspiracy plots, and beyond. the Spooky Family Podcast premieres July 1st, wherever you find and listen to quality podcasts.
Goose and Cronkite. Give the guys a break. They're not that bright.
And welcome back, round table number 2. What do you think about it so far, Cronkite?
I think it's amazing.
Me too. Justin, how about you?
I'm loving it.
Elliot?
I'm not allowed to talk anymore.
Yes, you are. You talk all you want. That is why you are here.
Somehow we went from the Secret Space Service to, hey, Bigfoot might be from another dimension. You never know.
But I've had as much fun here doing this.
I think your mic's off, yeah.
I think my mic's off. I've had as much fun sitting
we
here
go.
listening to this as I do sitting and listening to one of the episodes because it's off the cuff and it's fun. I think you done an excellent job, and we got into a lot of things I'm really interested in.
Now, Goose mistakenly muted your mic. He was trying to mute Elliot, and it just got out of hand.
No, I've just got too many buttons
I
and
think you was
controls in
gunning for
front of me.
yours.
This is the best bathroom break you'll ever have.
You're a little slow on that.
Yeah. Told you, man. I got too many buttons in front of me. This is going to be a 2-part episode.
Okay.
In the first parts, we're going to talk about. We talked about the secret space program and some other stuff. We're going to talk about conspiracy theories in this one, and then
Did we really talk about the Secret Space program?
yeah,
We sure did.
kind
we really?
of. And now we're going to talk about conspiracy theories, and we're going to wrap it up. And Cronkite, start us off on some of your favorite conspiracy theories.
Well, I've just got a handful of conspiracy theories that I've kind of talked about over the shows. And then there's one new one that I haven't talked about that I want to get everybody's take on. So, wow, do you all hear that?
Yeah, you've moved your microphone, so I'm having to boost you up now.
How about now?
There you go.
Check.
Why did you? No, let's not do that stuff, dumbass.
He hates it.
Why did you move your microphone for?
I didn't move it.
Yeah, you did. It
I
was
probably-
positioned another way.
I probably moved my seat.
Oh, okay.
It's got wheels on it.
All right, well, go ahead. Conspiracy theories.
All right, so I'm going to talk about some conspiracy theories that we've done on the show.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Cronkite's going to talk about some conspiracy theories that we've done on the show.
Have they been done on the show?
They've been doing the show.
You should probably talk about them.
You know what? You
So the ones that we're doing,
I printed them all.
I
out.
love
Y'all
these
can just
guys.
read 'em. Yeah,
I love
y'all
these
can just read 'em.
guys.
And then we're going to do one that I haven't done yet that I just want to give everybody's opinion on. Actually, I want to give everybody's opinion on everything.
Well, why don't you start out with the one that we haven't done yet first?
No.
the new one.
This is not your segment. Lay down over there. We'll talk about the White Star Line first.
Okay.
All aboard the Titanic, please.
Well, the Titanic, the Olympus, and the Britannic.
Oh, you know, the Titan was what it was in the book. Have you heard that conspiracy
Yeah.
theory? Yeah, that
Yeah.
was a good one.
Well, all right. So, just kind of for the background information on the Titanic, the RMS Titanic sank early morning hours of April 15th, 1912, in the North Atlantic Ocean, 4 days into her maiden voyage from Southampton to New York. The largest ocean liner in service at the time. Titanic had an estimated 2,224 people on board when she struck an iceberg around 11:40 p.m. ship's time. Her sinking 2 hours and 40 minutes later at 2:20 a.m. On Monday, April 15th. It resulted in the deaths of more than 1,500 people, making it one of the deadliest peacetime maritime disasters in history. Now, the whole conspiracy behind this is that it's an insurance scam. Was that J.P. Morgan and the I'm gonna find it, I think it's IMM. It's the let's hear that.
Just ignore that.
What is that? Somebody peeing?
No, it's the Titanic.
It's the Titanic sinking.
That's amazing. But anyway, We heard the water gurgling.
Well, I was trying to get our guests something to drink.
We thought it was the Titanic.
Yeah. So anyway, essentially, J.P. Morgan, who was the financier of the IMM company, they were going to build these Olympic-class ships. The first one was the Olympic, and it had some issues. It was involved in a crash with the HMS Hawk when they basically looked like they just turned into each other in 1911. So what that ended up doing is that ended up bending the keel of the ship, so it could never be insured. So the theory is that the Olympic was actually the ship that sank into Titanic's place. Have you guys heard that yet?
Yes.
Yeah, I've heard that before. Yeah.
And what do y'all think about that?
I mean, yeah, I think it's possible.
Do you think that they would be that cold to send 1,500 people to their death for an insurance?
You ever do much research on how these barons, especially people like J.P. Morgan, got their money?
No.
They'd sacrifice a few.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the bottom line is, the bottom line. The money is what matters. That's why I said what I said about the government, too. I mean, they're not going to do anything unless it gets the money or power. And, I mean, imagine all the life insurance policies on the Titanic, too, that had to be paid out.
That's true, yeah. So the ship that originally was the Olympic is supposed to be the one that's laying at the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah.
And then Olympic, or the new named Olympic, which was originally the Titanic, sailed on to, I think, the 1930s before it was scrapped. But the Britannic, which was also the sister ship, actually ended up being commandeered by the military during World War I and sank pretty close to the way the Titanic.
Have you ever heard of the Ss Minnow?
That's, probably one of the biggest shipwreck stories in the history of the world.
It is.
There wasn't a whole lot of people on it. See, there was the captain, there was Marianne.
The movie star.
Yeah, the movie star. There was the rich guy
and his wife. Yeah.
Yeah. Who was the second mate?
There was a professor.
The second mate.
Yeah, Gilligan.
Gilligan was the second mate.
Well, we just keep proving how old we are. I mean,
you guys are real proud of yourselves on that.
Yes, we are.
They did play the Globetrotters, though.
It was only a 3-hour tour.
I mean, you guys are real proud of yourselves. I can see how giggly you all are. This is ridiculous. Anyway, the Britannic sank eerily similar to the way Titanic sank, which was it hit a mine, and it full speed trying to get to land to save the ship, inadvertently sank the ship in 55 minutes instead of 2 hours. There was a loss of life of about 30 people, but that ship too, when it hit the bottom of the ocean, it broke in half as well. So there's eerily similar circumstances to those two ships, which makes me think that
possibly a design flaw.
But the Y Star Line was probably cursed. I'm just going to say it.
Well,
it was cursed.
There was the theory. There was the theory that there was a mummy on board the Titanic.
I've heard about that, and I also heard that there was a coal fire on the ship, and that resulted when the water hit the steam explosion actually breached the side of the ship. I've heard that theory as well.
I don't think that's. I think that was. Don't people say that was part of it? That was one of the reasons it went down as quick as it did.
Well, they say that it went down as quick as it did because it was moving at 22 knots, and that when it first gashed in, it started just pushing water into the ship and flooded the first 6 compartments relatively quickly.
Who was it? Was it Cameron that went down and found it?
Yeah, James Cameron.
Now, I think the one thing he was able to prove from that is there was definitely room for Jack on the board.
Oh, there was?
There was definitely.
So the board actually ended up sinking then?
Yeah, she was really a cruel human being.
She was.
She's very cruel.
I mean, she had a nice necklace, though.
Paint me, Cronkite, like those girls in your picture. What's your...
So we'll talk about the Denver airport.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. That was kind of a lame one. But it
wasn't. It really wasn't. I mean, especially if you want to get into the fact that there were 3 people on board who were against the Federal Reserve, and
yeah,
it's a possibility.
Well, and supposedly J.P. Morgan's some of their his enemies were on the ship.
Yeah,
and he did it just.
I mean, there's a good possibility of all that stuff.
Very strange.
I like the stories though that came off of it, like the band that decided to play the entire way down.
That was cool.
That was cool.
Being in a band, I can tell you, we would not have made that decision. The audience would not have been that important to us. I'd have been kicking Rose off that board.
Get off, woman. All right, so we'll talk about the Denver airport. Have you guys know much about the Denver airport and the conspiracy theories behind it? So we'll just talk about a couple of them. So it was built by the New World Order. There are many theories about who built the Denver airport. One of the most persistent theories is that the airport was built by the New World Order with ties to Nazism. The theory even goes as far
Nazis are bad.
Nazis are bad. The theory even goes as far to say that the airport's runways are built to resemble a swastika, which I've looked at you would have to really stretch. Yeah,
that's reaching.
However, looking at photographs from their configuration, the runways do seem to resemble the shape of it, particularly unless you really look for it. It doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't. It doesn't help that the airport's dedication marker credits an organization called the New World Airport Commission for building it. That's actually on the what is that? What are those things that they put in the ground? The time
capsule.
Time capsule. Yeah. So that's actually on the time capsule. The New World. It thanks the New World Airport Commission for building the airport. Now, the reason they say that the New World Order built this place is there's a lot of conspiracy behind it. First of all, the airport was $1 billion over budget, a year behind schedule, and essentially they started building the airport and then buried it and then built another one on top of it.
And then Scott Hall and Kevin Nash were there at the actual opening.
Yeah, they were.
And I think that had a lot to do with the New World Order.
Is Scott Hall? That's the guy that works at the pizza place, right?
Yes.
Down the street.
I think the Denver International Airport is kind of like the Greenbrier. Does everybody know what the Greenbrier is? So there was a resort built in West Virginia that it was basically if something had popped off during the Cold War, our government could go there. It had underground bunkers built in, and they could run America from underneath the Greenbrier, that hotel.
Mm-hmm.
Greenbrier.
And so when that was found out, and it was found out, I want to say just like maybe 5 years before the stuff started on Denver and on the international airport. So I think maybe it just, that ideal was taken and transplanted to Denver. Like if something pops off, what better way to get people in than have a huge airport you can fly the government to, and then underground bunkers.
There's a new theory too in the Denver airport that there's some footage that a reporter took before it had opened, and he actually got access to the underground stuff. And like you said, there was bunkers there, and they also claim that there is a subway or underground train that runs straight from the Denver airport to Cheyenne Mountain.
Well, yeah, that's what I was going to say. There's a lot of underground tunnels. So there's NORAD, Cheyenne Mountain. There's another military base close by, and then there's even rumors
there's
that
Dulce. Dulce base.
Yeah, and then there are also even rumors that there's a tunnel that leads straight to Area 51, supposedly. But, I don't know. So the New World Order, this is kind of where I was going with this. This is kind of, we were talking earlier about the New World Order in the previous segment. Do you all think that the New World Order is actually a government, or do you think the New World Order is companies?
If we take Eric Bischoff out of it, and he's not the one actually running it, in all honesty, I think New World Order is more of a smokescreen. I think that's like... And probably unbeknownst to them, I don't think that they had any knowledge of this, but who came and actually did dedicate the airport when it was open were the Freemasons. And they were there doing that. And I think that it was just, it's more of a matter of, hey, people say things about these guys, things that in my opinion I don't believe are true. Mm-hmm. And you've got this New World Order name on here. The government's smart, and they're cheeky sometimes, and they do these things that, okay, this is the best possible place for a secret base. And again, where's the best place to hide is in plain sight. Let's make these people go crazy over this. I don't think there's anything nefarious about this. I don't think it has anything to do with Bischoff or the New World Order. I think it has nothing to do with the Masons. I think it is a matter of, we need this. This is great military infrastructure. The length of the runway, some of the longest runways in the country. you look at these large military planes and stuff that need this, or under attack. If a portion of this runway is destroyed, you've still got the ability to take off. You talked about the proximity to all these other places. I think it's pretty clear what it is. One, I think it's extremely fun. It's one of the funnest, like, conspiracy theories out there because there's so much. They did so much with it. And two, like, it's kind of like, okay, it plays its part for what it needs to be. And we don't have to come right out and go, no, that's not it, because we make it so ridiculous. We throw in,
put an evil blue horse at the front of it.
That killed the guy that made it.
Put it right there.
And that's the thing. And then there's gargoyles all the way around it. There's
they talk to you that says "Welcome to the New World Airport."
And that's the thing is like, and then there's no, just kidding, just welcome to Denver. Why would you do that? You're making fun of yourself. You're trying to hide something. You're hiding in plain sight. The other thing is this creepy art. Did you all see the art? I've got pictures.
And I read a pretty good in-depth interview with somebody that helped the artist who actually created all that. And if you kind of listen to his intent with the art, like I could get looking at the art, the intent he was trying to put across. But again, I think it's almost one of those things of either let's be so upfront about this that it's ridiculous to anybody, or maybe it generally was. He just came in and this was the idea he had. But if you read it, his intention with that was pretty spot on for what it is.
Sure. Okay.
I mean, it's like when I tell my kid, when my kid finds his Christmas present, I'm like, oh no, that's the neighbor kid's present. And he's like, oh, okay. Well, I mean, yeah, my kid's dumb, but, it works out. You're hiding it in plain sight. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
One of the biggest things about that is, they said that they explained being over budget by, well, this was unstable, so we just covered it up and built on top of it.
Well, no, they said that
don't do that,
They said that they weren't built to spec or something like that, so they covered these structures that they already built and started building over them.
Yeah, but, I mean, you don't do that,
Yeah, I mean, and like the things they'd already built that they built on top of, maybe that's the rooms they stay in. You know what I'm saying? Like, I agree. Like, listen, 100%. Denver International Airport, there's something crazy about it, but nefarious, probably not. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and it would be so much easier if they would reach back out to me and let me do this interview. They emailed me once and they said yes, we'd be open for an interview, and then I've emailed them twice since then. And I've gotten nothing. So
maybe you should call them right now.
I'm thinking that maybe perhaps they've listened to the show and been like, oh, no, those guys are really good at truth-seeking, and we're not doing that because they're going to find us out. Like,
ask for Buff Bagwell, and that could get you straight in because I know that he's high up in the NWO. So
Buff Bagwell. Got it. Yeah. All right. Let me see if I can find the airport number here. You guys want to talk amongst yourselves?
Sure. I've actually got it right here. Do you want me to call it?
Sure.
Okay, here we go.
Again, we are calling the Denver International Airport. For those of you just joining me.
Should be ringing.
Welcome and thank you for calling Denver International Airport. All phone calls are monitored for quality of service and security reasons.
Buff Bagwell?
You may also access information on our website at flydenver.com. Press 1 for airline and flight information. Press 2 for parking. Press 3 for TSA and security screening information. Otherwise, please remain on the line or press 0 to speak with a customer service representative.
You want to speak to customer
to repeat
service?
this message, press 9. The digit selected was invalid. Please try again.
Procedures to keep passengers and employees safe. Throughout the airport, you'll find hand sanitizing stations and disinfecting wipes in each gate area.
Thank you for calling Denver International Airport. This is Melissa. Could I have your first and last name, please?
Hi, Melissa. This is Cronkite. I'm with Here to Chew Bubblegum. I'm just hoping to speak with you about some of the conspiracies that's surrounding the Denver International Airport, like the gargoyle that says, Welcome to the New World Order.
Right, okay.
Do you care to talk with us for a few minutes?
Sure can.
Awesome. All right. So what do you say about the correct me if I'm wrong, but I hear that this airport was built and then there were some issues and then they just covered it over and built a new airport. Is that correct?
Not that I'm aware of. They didn't do like a restart.
Okay, so there's like not secret underground baggage claim or
like tunnels.
Yeah.
There's a baggage system that's underneath. Yes.
but it's not a secret tunnel. All the rampers and airlines go into there to deliver the bags.
Oh, you're not making this fun for me at all. All right.
Sorry.
What about the giant blue horse out front?
Mustang?
Yeah. The blue Mustang. So, or also known as, do you guys call it Blucifer?
That is a nickname.
Oh, wow. Okay. And so is it true that a piece of it fell on the creator and killed him?
That's correct. And his son finished the horse.
Oh, wow. That's crazy. So what is the purpose what is the purpose of the horse in front of the airport?
Be all accounts will answer. Art.
Just for art.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So speaking of art, what about the artwork that's in the I guess the terminal building there?
Sure.
This is a very scary looking mural. What is it? Yeah.
That particular one. Yeah. Unfortunately, it's taken down at the moment due to the construction, and they say hopefully afterwards they're putting it back up.
Okay. What do you think about it? I mean, it's kind of a warmonger that's stabbing a dove over some children.
I don't necessarily think that it is what it is. I guess like any art, it's up to interpretation.
Up to interpretation. Okay. All right. Mm-hmm. So do you think that the airport is like the base for the Illuminati and New World Order?
I think it'd be possible, but I don't know.
You think it's possible, but you don't know. Okay. Now, what about the gargoyles? Why are the gargoyles there? Just for art and decoration, or?
Well, which one are you talking about? Because there used to be ones that stood on top of luggage that they took down because of construction, and the one that talks to people as they go by.
Right. Okay. That's the one I'm wondering about. Why is it just kind of making fun of, kind of embracing the?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Okay. So do y'all get concerned? Like, are concerned passengers come up to you guys all the time?
All the time.
That?
Yep.
So what do you say to them? Like, oh my gosh, I don't want to do this.
Again, it's art,
Yeah.
and people want to take it the way they want to take it. Some is good and some is bad. Some people love it, some people don't.
Right, I understand. All right, so now I understand that the Denver airport has a runway that's 16,000 feet. Is that correct?
Say that one more time.
The Denver airport has a runway that's 16,000 feet. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Now, what is the purpose of having a runway that long? Is it because of the
large aircraft that are coming in?
Okay, so it doesn't have anything to do with like the proximity to like the military bases, like to use that as a secondary landing site or anything?
Nope, not at all.
Okay, alrighty then. And so there's not a secret underground airport.
No,
I'm stuck on this. I gotta know.
Now, there's in the beginning when it was built, there was underground luggage trail that was supposed to bring your luggage from one point to another, but it never actually really worked.
So they just
there's that, but there are tunnels.
Okay.
Well, no, they just kind of left it.
I see.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys have any questions? Okay. Well, thank you for talking to me today. I sure do appreciate it. And is there any like confessions you want to make, like a secret, nefarious anything going on there?
No. No, thank you.
If you're done, ma'am, my name's Justin. I do have one question, but is there any chance that maybe Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, and Eric Bischoff are in any way tied to the Denver National Airport?
I have no idea who those people are.
Okay, so no New World Order, no NWO connection whatsoever.
I have no clue.
Okay, thank you.
I'm not a part of that. Yep, you're very welcome.
I definitely appreciate it. Thank you now.
Mm-hmm. All right, you have a good day.
You too. Goodbye.
Bye.
Huh.
Wow.
I didn't think that they were going to. I had no questions ready.
Well, honestly, I didn't think that they would answer either, because when we caught them on a Sunday last time, the guy just directed you to the email of the lady. I was really blown away by that.
It's a female hearing Cronkite's voice. That's
what it was.
She was like,
They have to be so tired of answering these questions, though, But I thought, are you sure there's nothing? Nope, nothing at all.
Yeah, she's very, very good interview for the moment. You did awesome on that.
Yeah,
I would have froze on that. I'm not gonna lie.
I'll be honest with you, I blacked out.
I didn't expect them to talk.
No, I didn't either.
I really do. I think everything she said there was correct, and I do think that it was just a bunch of weird artists that got in there and did some weird stuff. But that runway is 16,000 feet.
Well, I still think, and I go back to this. She probably doesn't know. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, she probably doesn't know exactly what it's for. She was hired to answer phones or do whatever.
And what was the question you asked when she said it's possible?
Oh, what was that?
If there was a secret underground base, or no, if the New World Order's base was there,
yeah,
she was like, that's possible.
So
she sounded suspicious when I mentioned those names. I didn't drop Buff Bagwell, but she sounded suspicious when I mentioned.
She's hiding something.
Do you think maybe it was Miss Elizabeth who didn't die but was moved?
That is an excellent point.
I just want to say thank you for the Denver International Airport for giving us
awesome.
That was very awesome.
Tough interview. All right, do you guys want to talk about airplanes? Or do you want to talk about simulation theory?
Simulation theory.
The next two.
Can we talk about airplanes in simulation theory?
You can talk whatever you want.
Very, very good.
So we'll talk about simulation theory. Are we living in a simulation, Justin?
Yes.
Okay.
No, I don't. Look, it's my favorite. My two favorite conspiracy theories is one that I definitely believe is true and one that I definitely believe is not true, and that being the Kennedy assassination and simulation theory. I'll say this about simulation theory. The fact that we could possibly be in a simulated state of existence. The question that, when you discuss this with people all the time is why? What's the point in it? What if we were a data mine? It would make sense why you have so many different people in different realms of life.
Sure.
We're an algorithm constantly running, providing information on what could the outcome of this situation or that situation be. And then once you kind of identify a purpose in the simulation, then you need proof of the simulation. And I look at really three things, basically. The Mandela effect, which would be alterations to the simulation, which would result in inconsistent memories or inconsistent data that's possibly corrupted. The possibility of reboots in the simulation, which would definitely be possible.
After 2000,
which explains deja vu.
Yes, it does. Or
after 2012, it was all weird.
Yeah, nostalgia. Look at people from the 50s. Those people look at 50s as the greatest era of all time, this and that. What if that was a reboot in the timeline? There's a point where there's a problem in the simulation with that particular batch of people in the simulation. You bring them back with this great memory of the present and this great fear of the past, the world wars, things of that nature. Same thing in the 80s. You have what's possibly another reboot. So, I look at that and I think, and then to me, the third thing is time travel. Even if you look at Ingersoll Lockwood, what if this information, the Barron Trump stuff, all this is deposited back in a file that you perceive as to be the past, and so that now you can draw on that. Here, this is why it's happening, And what if this is just something where they've got lazy and they're not monitoring us like they used to, and that's why the last 8 years have been as crazy as they've been? That's all I got. I don't believe in it, but I think it's one of the funnest conspiracy theories.
It is, but now, all right. So going back to why would we be in a simulation? So does the human body not produce some form of electricity?
Yes.
So it's kind of like a battery, or
the Matrix.
But also, going back to the Matrix, but also our brains are pretty well supercomputers, right?
Yes.
We process.
And
mine's not.
There's right.
Mine's like a 70s model.
Yeah,
IBM.
There's a lot about the brain that we don't know. We know very little about the human brain.
So that could be in itself a reason. Is all of us are plugged into a simulation running a planet.
Our brains have the ability to run a simulation at a level a computer can't. So if you could access fully the brain, and my interpretation of the simulation as compared to your interpretation of the simulation, and you use that purely for data, we serve no other purpose outside of data. Say free will is still real. You have free will within the confines of that simulation, but the choices you make in that simulation, from disease control to let's introduce a new disease. Let's see how these minds combat this problem, or possibly is it just a matter of we've got to a point to where physically we can't sustain in an outside world, and a simulation is the only way we could still exist in any way, shape, or form is the mental aspect of it. We're locked in these little tubes somewhere,
God bless. I love when he talks. It makes me sound so dumb.
What is a simulation though? I mean, think about that for a second. I mean, let's say that what you said. That's one way of looking at it. But then let's also say maybe we were created by a creator being. And I mean, isn't that a simulation? Like, he created us, but...
Oh, my brain.
I wrote a short story one time to where that's basically the principle of it. You get to a point to where you find out everything that you view as being synthetic, the table, all of that, and everything that you view as being organic, us, trees, whatever, those roles are reversed. Yeah. To where the things that are electronic, the things that you can actually kind of affect your reality with are the organic things. They're the real things. They're the things that actually exist, the things that are real. And what we would consider organic are the manufactured things. They're the things that are not what we would call man-made, but they're not of nature. And that's kind of the way that whole short story went.
I mean, you look at a tree. A tree produces oxygen. You look at a lung. A lung looks like a tree on the inside of the lung. You look at all these different things. So I look at a simulation theory. I don't really think like we're a computer, like somebody's running us on a computer. Yeah. But like a creator, we are basically a simulation that they created. They, even if you look at it biblically, and I don't want to bring religion into it, but we were created in the image. So isn't that a simulation?
Yes,
you know what I mean? Like that's exactly what that would be. So yeah, I believe simulation theory is like just existence. Like. We created it gets to the point where if we are a simulation or we were created, now we start creating things too, and you have these video games and movies and entertainment and even comic book art. Like, you think about this for a second. Spider-Man. Like, I'm not a Spider-Man fan. He's not like, well, I am, but I'm not. He's not my favorite. But Spider-Man was created by Steve Ditko and Stan Lee and Jack Kirby and all these people. They're dead. Spider-Man is still continuing on and will continue on for forever and forever and forever and forever. And like, I don't know, man. I just believe that simulation theory is existence. It's just one of those things.
That I like that. That's an interesting look at it. The thing with simulation, the only reason it's become such a big topic is I fall back a lot on mathematics. Not that I'm a mathematician by any degree. It's not my specialty at all. I have to rely on people that I assume are much more intelligent than me in that regard. But mathematically, you can get to three conclusions. A race either no longer exists before it gets the capacity to build a simulation. A race either gets to the capacity that it can build a simulation and decides it doesn't want to, or you get to the point that you could. Mathematically, based on our trajectory, and you're talking theoretical mathematics. So at this point, it's mathematics that do have a basis in provability, but they're not completely and totally reliable because you have to put some elements of chance in there. But looking at it from that point mathematically, we're more likely to get to that point. And if we're at that point, I'm gone. The simulation cut me off. My mic's gone or my headphones are one. If you guys can still hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, there you go. But
no, that's just Elliot. He's part of it.
I touched something I didn't mean to touch.
You're good.
Can you hear through your headphones?
No. Mathematically, though, we're at a point to where no simulation, nobody in a simulation is going to assume that they're the first generation in the simulation. That's automatically, you're going to think, well, we are the generation before that.
Quit touching stuff, Elliot.
I'm sorry.
I'm at that point, to be completely honest with you, but theoretically, no matter what, if I was in a simulation or not, I don't believe we'll ever get to the point. And that's the thing, as much fun as I like, as it is, and as much as I like discussing it, I don't actually believe we'll ever get to that point. I think our desire for free will, and this is not in regards to what Elliot was talking about, but in regards to an actual computer simulation, I don't think the majority of people, myself included, I'd like to really believe I'm never going to turn that control over or be satisfied in that existence. I think I'd be much more satisfied in the most miserable of actual existence than a simulated existence that has no value. And if you're a parent, I don't know how you simulate that emotion that you have for a child. You're not going to do that with a Mac.
Exactly. I mean, you're always gonna I think that is why I go back to the whole. I just don't see it as a simulation. I see it as, it's probably true. We're probably not, our own beings in some ways, but I don't think we're computer generated or used as test animals. I just think we were.
Well, all right. So I have to disagree with 2 points. One, I do believe we are close to being able to create a simulation ourselves. We have virtual reality already.
No, I believe I believe that we're getting close to that.
I mean, at this point right now, we have virtual reality. It's just a matter of
time. 2,
time.
he thinks birds are drones, and they sit on power lines to charge themselves.
I'm going to agree on that.
I'm pretty sure that's proven.
Yeah. It's 3-on-1 there.
What do you think about that?
I'm gonna say we're all pretty
Who feels
wrong.
like a dummy now?
The 3 guys that agree with that idea, but we still agree with it.
But going on is, shit, you made me lose what I was thinking of.
We're to the point to where we can create it and we have virtual reality.
But you also give people too much credit by thinking that they would not blissfully ignore. If the physical world was a terrible place, or if it's the current place, but they had the option of living in pure happiness every day of their lives, but they're in a dream state, I think you give people too much credit. I think 9 times out of 10, nine out of 10 people will take that. I think
the masses most definitely would. I would like to think that I wouldn't, but again, that's just me wanting to be. My papa told his brother one time, he said, I had a lot harder life than you. And my uncle said, I'd like to know how. We was born in the same house, same mommy and daddy, grew up and everything. My papa said, but I was born smart and pretty. That's 2 problems you'll never know anything about. So I was born kind of soft. So more than likely I would easily comply, but maybe you're not given the option. But now when you look at it from the point that Elliot makes, I agree with that. If you want to call that a simulation, I agree with that. But as far as it being just a computer-ran program, I don't know.
Okay. Is everybody ready? Here we go. This whole last year since COVID-19 has been a simulation. I mean,
There's theories out there that 2012 was the actual end of the world and that we're just running a simulation now. That's what I said.
Everything has been different since 2012, but you have my attention. Continue.
Well, I mean, and you were talking about, people choosing happiness and this and that. And
so a belt buckle's a fat guy's worst enemy.
Okay. But, last week I went to Walmart. Didn't wear a face mask. Didn't have to. Even though normally I wore one just to pacify other people or older people, just out of respect. So when I go in last week, I'm probably the only person in there without a mask on, even though the new CDC guidelines, the governor, went along with those. You didn't have to. And people were so programmed that they were still wearing them. Mm-hmm. I mean, even today, I went prior to coming here to Bunker Studios. There might have been 5 or 6 people that didn't. There were so many more that had masks on. I mean, just.
But now,
what I'm trying to say is, if the government tells you to do one thing and you do it, and you're being programmed, and
it becomes easier to do.
Exactly.
I get what you're saying.
You're even if you're not in, some people, even if they're not in what we would consider a traditional computer ran simulation, they still, in all intents and purposes, are in a simulation based on the fact of the way that they're able to be manipulated.
Yeah, definitely. And those people would, we talked earlier in the show about the government faking an alien invasion. Those would be the first ones to line up and believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's just my opinion on
100%.
I'd be the guy that didn't believe it and got shot by some laser ray because it was actually real.
I'd be interested though to see what would happen. Like we saw what happened when War of the Worlds, was originally ran. I'd love to see if something like that happened today, and just see what it was like.
Yeah.
Something that has shocked me over the past couple of weeks is you've had UFOs have been the forefront of a lot of newscasts. People act like they don't care. I mean, there's a lot of people who act like it doesn't bother them. They don't care. That's
why I believe if real disclosure is coming, if that's a possibility, and they're really we really are getting visited from another planet, and they're really going to let it out. Now's the time to do it. We're so desensitized, and we're so kind of bombarded with other things that. And that topic, the belief in that topic has been so ridiculed and so beat down, they're almost to the point that they could come out and go, you know what, E.T. was real. It was a documentary. And and people just go, they're nuts. And they go, but the president and the government says it. So-and-so done it, whatever president's in office at the time. It's, so if they wanted to let it out and be honest, they're at a point where they could do that. They're at a point where I would even question it because they are the ones admitting it. That makes it. You look at
that's the point I'm at right now.
Yeah. You look at what they've gone to, and I know a lot of people have a lot of different opinions on different guys, but there's Greer's not a guy that I'm 50-50 on between really informative and somewhat crazy. And then you take Billy Myers. That's a guy that people look at and go, well, this is the most definitive proof ever. To me, that's the fakest pictures and stuff I've ever seen. It's ridiculous.
That is a trash can lid with Christmas balls.
Exactly. And then you go Travis Walton. Travis Walton is a case that, to me, is very convincing. The one thing troubling about Travis Walton is the same thing that's troubling about Betty and Barney Hill. Before they actually gave any real testimony, and I'm talking as soon as Walton supposedly got back, he was subject to a psychologist or a therapist of some degree. It's very easy to implant that. It actually, your brain goes there. It wouldn't have for him probably at the time because of the culture, but they did an experiment a while back where I believe it was a lady. They put her under hypnosis, and it was like, okay, your car's pulled over. Then all of a sudden you look up and, what's this? What's this in the sky? They gave her no more leading information from there on out, and she came to the conclusion of a very strong fact that she held that they had a hard time. I don't know if they ever did get her to understand that they implanted this, that she was abducted. So I'm not big on either one of those as being... I'm not being disrespectful. Those people put a lot of time in. They're good with it, and they really help some people. Yeah. As far as are large segments of it pseudoscience, yes. And I think that's pretty open, and I think a lot of experts would agree with that. But it's dangerous when you get to the point of what they can put in. And we're kind of at that point socially to where between social media and the news, we're being influenced. They hire people like that. They hire people who are good at implanting things, good at getting an idea across. That's how they market things. That's how they sell stuff. And these ads, you take Facebook. Facebook is based on a slot machine. You roll down, you get a prize.
The Social Dilemma. Have you ever watched the documentary Social Dilemma?
Yeah.
And
No.
You basically the algorithms that Facebook and these Twitter and all these things use. If you start to interact with posts, you see more posts like the ones you interacted with. So eventually, if you've been on Facebook for 5 years, it looks like everybody either agrees with you or disagrees with you. And then that's what makes the world as separated today as we are. You know what I'm saying? And, again, it goes back to the whole point of, we can't really, especially when it comes to disclosure, we can't really trust what we're getting or what we're seeing because, do they want us to believe this now, and why now?
Yeah.
If they've known it for a long time, why haven't they released it? But why now? Is it because of the pandemic? They can hide it? They can be like, oh, well, we told you. I mean, yeah, there was a pandemic going on, and you were worried about your life and vaccines and all this stuff. But we told you, so it's not our fault. You know what I mean? Or is it, there are people out there who are either believing or not believing this pandemic. We need to get some kind of control back, so let's release that there's aliens and then get everybody on the same page on that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm not saying that's what's happening. I'm saying that's a possibility that's out there. And it's just, to me, I go back to the whole point of you follow the money, I guess, and like who is making the money off this announcement? Like, is it's not us. You know what I mean? Like, we're discussing it, and in some way we're getting the word out more about it, but we're doing that for free. And like, is that what it is? Is it the fact that there are so many people out there that are discussing this, like on podcasts and on radio shows and television shows, that the government feels like we've got a base of believers now? You know what I mean? Thanks to people like the Here to Chew Bubblegum guys. We can put this out there now, and people will be like, they've been talking about that lately, so it must be true. You know what I'm saying? Or is it, I don't know, or is it put out even more to discredit people like us who are free thinking and trying to like find different paths? And they're like, well, yeah, there's these, but it's not anything that these podcasts are talking about. It's the government has this. I don't know, guys. It all goes back. Like, I just don't trust anybody.
In regards to disclosure, I think it's a matter of we're at a point we don't have a Cold War. We don't really have a good live action war, and even though we got people putting their lives in danger and they're in bad spots, it's not getting the publicity it needs, but it's also not bringing in the money that in military-industrial complex really needs. And
follow the money.
Yeah, to me, that's what this, Space Force could end up being the highest funded organization we have after this. And, there's a lot of money. Lady Bird Johnson's parents owned Bell Helicopters, and we stayed in an unwinnable war for a long time, and her family made a whole lot of money, and Lyndon Johnson made a really intelligent decision and decided to step out and not run again because, one, he was set for life with inheritance, and two, I think that was getting too up front. I think people were really looking at that too much, know. And, Kennedy spoke out against military-industrial complex. A couple presidents have, But it to me, if you're tracing money, how did we get from there to... how did we get from simulations to Kennedy?
I forgot we were talking about simulations area there for a second. Kennedy said that we needed the military-industrial complex like he needed a hole in his head.
He got one. He got one.
You piece of shit.
What?
How dare you?
What?
How dare
Listen,
you?
Here's the thing. Kennedy was all right.
Elected by the mob. We don't have hours enough for the Kennedy conspiracy.
So, what other conspiracy theories you got over there? Justin Elliott, is there anyone you want to talk about and bring up?
What do you got?
I've got two left. We're going to talk about TWA Flight 800. This is something you guys probably know about, right?
Is that Malaysia or is that?
No, this is the one that happened in 1996.
Was it off New York?
No, yeah,
yes,
took off from JFK. Yeah. And it just at 13,000 feet it exploded. And so,
but people thought they saw rockets. Is that the one?
There were over 150. Over 150 witnesses that said they saw streaks of light go to the aircraft and explode. But later on, the investigation says that no, by the time you heard that explosion, what you were actually seeing was the rest of the plane as it fell. But I don't see how you can make this. I don't understand. Your sight doesn't work in reverse. So how can you see something leave the surface, go up, and then something return to the surface?
Right. So who was on that plane?
There were some kids from a French class, but there was some other stuff on there too. Hang on.
Kennedys? Were there any Kennedys?
I feel really bad about that joke now. I do.
You should. You're a piece of shit.
You shouldn't feel bad about it.
I do.
And don't call our guests that. They come here to express their opinion.
I call you a piece of shit.
Well, you can call me that. That's fine.
No, so have you seen the movie Final Destination?
Yeah.
That opening scene with the aircraft, that was actually where they got the that from was from this crash.
I'm just wondering when I ask who's on the plane, I'm just wondering if there was any like high value target that
there's nothing that I've read.
He's not researched that yet to see who's on the plane.
Do you want me to get a passenger manifest? Yeah. I don't know what these people do.
Well, the thing with the high value
you seem to have it in with Melissa at Denver Airport. I'm sure that she would
do what now?
Supply you with a passenger manifest
of a plane that crashed 25 years ago.
Yeah. Well,
from an airport that's not hers.
Yeah,
you're not going to get. I mean, if there is a person of interest on that flight, you're not going to get a manifest with that.
Well, no, sure.
That's fairly easy to.
So essentially, the theories are that there was a missile that shot it down. It was a theory that a terrorist shot it down with a missile, or that a U.S. Navy submarine shot it down by mistake because they were doing maneuvers off the coast there. And then, really, what kind of set that in motion is usually the NTSB handles the investigation of an airplane crash. FBI is called in if there's a criminal act. The FBI was on scene that night. So that's why a lot of people are starting to take the leap to say, hey, there's probably something more to this than just a faulty wire that caused a fuel explosion. There were explosive residues recovered in the aircraft. The backstory says that was from a dog training explosives training mission that happened a month prior, which doesn't make any sense to me either. There was also radar data that showed multiple flight paths leading to the aircraft. Yeah, I mean, that's essentially it. Electromagnetic interference. I mean, what do you guys think? I mean, do you know what a 747 is, right?
It's a plane.
Yeah, I mean, you know what it is. Like, you've seen one, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so usually this is the ones that they take on transatlantic flights. They fill up the wing tanks, and they leave the center fuel tank. In this case, the center fuel tank was empty, had, I think, 50 gallons of fuel in it. They are saying that the hot day and the air conditioning packs being under the fuel tank created vapor in the tank.
Is this the one set on the runway so long?
Yes.
Well, it kind of comes back to what Elliot said when we were talking about disclosure. It's follow the money. Yeah. And, with a tragic accident like that, the only person a conspiracy theory really benefits in that situation is TWA. Because if enough things get out there that kind of deflect it, even if it's not completely proven away from the possibility that it was a malfunction, then it doesn't hurt ticket sales. It doesn't hurt their image going forward. And it's kind of like, okay, if you come out and you say such and such happened and it's a really negative impact on something, and then that journalist is forced to retract that statement. Well, that initial accusation is going to be on page 1. Yeah. That retraction is going to be on page 6. And it's kind of the same method there. If you initially come out and, wow, there's maybe the government messed up, because nobody likes the government. Maybe the government messed up, right. And it's just a possibility. That's a way to deflect blame, and it's also a way to, it's not our fault. We don't look as bad. We didn't do something wrong. And it's more advantageous for them if it's kind of viewed through the spectrum of a conspiracy.
Okay. So former Obama pilot, TWA Fly 800 was not blown up by a faulty fuel tank. It was shot down. I'll always believe that, and here's why. So this is a pilot that flew for Obama, I guess. He says there are many reasons to believe the official explanation of what happened to TWA 800. There's hardly an airline pilot among the hundreds that I know who buys the official explanation that it was a fuel tank explosion. Offered by the National Transportation Safety Board some 4 years earlier, lots can go wrong with an airplane. Engines can fail, they can catch fire, devices malfunctions, pilots make errors, but jets do not explode in midair. If they do, it's usually because they've been shot down or bombed. There's little to suggest that there was a bomb aboard, but there's ample evidence that a missile of some sort detonated at a very close area to the plane and brought it down. A former colleague who will remain unnamed because he's not authorized to speak publicly about this, served as one of the lead investigators representing the interest of TWA pilots. And I talked with him at length about the investigation after it was completed. I have also spoke with another TWA employee who has knowledge of what went on in the aftermath of the crash, how the investigation was conducted, and what my colleague said he witnessed. Not to mention the scores of conflicting eyewitness accounts of the crash has led me to believe that whatever sent Flight 800 to its fire demise could not have been a fuel tank explosion. So this is a certified pilot who is saying that, and by speaking with TWA officials and some others, has come to the conclusion that this is not just a faulty air explosion. But now this was probably one of the pivotal moments of air investigations. They rebuilt the forward section of this 747 in a hangar from the millions of pieces that were on the bottom of the ocean. So they found an area. They brought it down to where the aircraft unzipped, the fuselage broke apart and began its first crack and fell apart. So that's where it came from, was the fuel tank. But they can't find exactly what they're looking for. They're speculating that it was a wire that arced in the tank, but they can't find that wire. Of course, falling from 15,000 feet, it's probably on fire. It's probably you're not going to find it. You know what I mean? But why have you not had that issue before? That's kind of what I'm getting at.
Well, follow the money. This guy says something like that, he gets publicity, he gets a thing. But also, you look at, okay, I used to be a certified welder. Not an excellent one, but a certified welder. I could weld the pipe, but I couldn't tell you what, if the welder went down, what was wrong with the welder. So, due respect to that guy, I don't know, unless he has some definite insider information. The thing is, if they shot it down, you'll never know, because they're going to hide that. But we're not supposed to fly, physically. Technologically, we've got to that point. There's going to be some issues. It's a hard one because there's not enough there to prove their side of the story, but there's also not enough there for me to go, okay, that seems strange to me.
Yeah. And that was one of the largest conspiracy theories in airline history at that time, was the TWA 800 crash.
Let me point this out to you. If that did happen the way that they said it did, why has it not happened again?
That's what I'm saying. Is like you have all of these aircraft, all of these 747s that have been in service since, I think the first one flew in the late 60s, early 70s.
Right.
And they're still in service today. And you don't have that. This is the only time this has ever happened.
That is odd.
That is odd, right?
Listen to this. There's a documentary on the Epix channel called TWA 800.
It's a terrific documentary.
Okay. Questions are raised in the film. Why was an FBI agent found in the aircraft hangar in the middle of the night hammering on a piece of evidence? Mm-hmm. But then they drop him, and it says they lean towards 3 smoking guns. First, one wing tested positive for explosives residue, and then the FBI later said that was a false positive.
Yeah.
And then the Federal Aviation Administration radar showed fast-moving debris. The film asserts when a center fuel tank explosion would have produced a low-velocity explosion. And then third, some of the witnesses said they saw what looked like a flare, light shooting straight up, which is consistent with a missile. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, just reading this.
If you want to look at it technically, then, it's something that has happened more than once. Wasn't there one in Atlanta that they saw the same thing? They thought they saw surface to air coming up. Was that Atlanta?
Oh, I don't know.
I have that in my head for some reason. Right, sometime around the Atlanta bombing of the Olympics.
Yeah, this happened.
Oh, it was that one.
This happened.
Okay, so I've just
week,
got it.
Yeah, 1 week before that all went down. But no, But here's the thing, though. This certainly wouldn't be the first time the U.S. or our Navy has accidentally shot down a civilian airliner.
Oh no!
It just happened in, was it Iran? Iran just.
Yeah, they shot down.
Shot down one.
Yeah. So.
Well, it was Russian. We may have shot that one down over Iran.
Yeah, we shot. There was an Iranian passenger liner that was shot down in the Strait of Hormuz, I think. But that was, I don't know. It was confusing times, I guess. Not saying that it was acceptable, because it's not.
Now you've got me started. I'm gonna have to go home and look up all kinds of TWA 800.
Dude,
I did find a passenger list though.
Did you?
I found.
Dude, seriously, watch that Epix documentary. It is amazing.
I will. And but one of the names that stood out to me, and I won't say the name, but he was 50 years old. He was a senior systems engineer with the Naval Surface Warfare Center in Dahlgren, Virginia. So.
Interesting.
I don't know. That sounds like an interesting job to be on a plane that blows up by accident.
Yeah. Definitely.
I know you've got one more there. Before you do that, let's take a break. We've been going about an hour, and then we'll let you come back and do that one, and we'll do Reagan and UFOs and time travelers.
Okay.
All right. You want to take us out?
Sure. You're listening to Here to Chew Bubblegum. You can always call, text, leave a voicemail, 606-373-3396. Email Goose, Here to Chew Bubblegum, Cronkite, Here to Chew Bubblegum. And we'll be right back.
Greetings.
We come in peace.
The City of Coal Run Village Mayor Andrew Scott and City Commissioners Beverly Joe Osborne, Big Joe Atkins, Trey Deskins, and Mike Steele encourage you to shop local.
With over 200 businesses, the City of Coal Run Village offers games, restaurants, gas, auto parts, cars, and much more.
You'll find all of this and more in the City of Coal Run Village. Shop local and shop often.
You can always call, text, or leave a voicemail for Here to Chew Bubblegum. 606-373-3396. You can also send an email to goose@heretochewbubblegum.com or cronkite@heretochewbubblegum.com.
Well, we're going to wrap it up. Justin, I want to thank you very much for coming in and sitting in on our round table here at Bunker Studios.
Thank you guys very much for having me.
I encourage everyone to check out Talk Junkie. And where can we pick your books up at?
I prefer you go to the Red Spotted Newton Hazard, Kentucky. You can look them up online. Doesn't matter where you live in the country, she will ship, and you will get them cheaper there. But if for some reason she's out of stock, you can't get them there, they are currently available for Amazon Prime, free shipping and all that right now on Amazon. It's two I done myself is Coal Kingdom and Creating the Perfect Slaves. And then there's two children's books with my son. Everyone is different, just like me, and the boy of super hearing.
Elliot?
Yes, sir.
July 1st.
July 1st, Spooky Family Podcast coming to anywhere where you listen to podcasts. The website is up right now. You can go and visit that. If you want to contact me at Spooky Family Podcast, it's Elliot at spookyfamilypodcast.com. Gertie, that's my wife, Gertie at spookyfamilypodcast.com, or Beagle at spookyfamilypodcast.com. July 1st, we are looking at a lighter look into the darker side of the world. We've got some interesting topics coming up. We're going to interview some ghost hunters, see what they really think's out there. I remember Ghostbusters. How is Elvis, and have you seen him lately? You know, that kind of good stuff. We're also building up a little bit of a march towards Halloween. We really want to celebrate that this year and just get some fun stuff out there. So, listen to us. July 1st will be our premiere episode. We've already got a couple episodes in the can, but none that we feel are premiere worthy. So we're recording a little bit every week to try to get up to that point. But
I'm looking forward to that.
I'm looking forward
to that.
Just
because he can, it will release on July 1st, but he'll actually record it July 2nd.
It's a very good possibility. That's why I know it's going to be great. We've already heard it. No.
We've already heard it.
But please tune in, and we'll see how that goes.
Well, coming to things in July 31st, Pikeville Comic and Toycon. We're going to be there, you and I, Goose, and hopefully some other people.
Hopefully Justin and Elliot and Spooky Family will be there.
We're going to check you guys out.
We're gonna cruise around. We're gonna probably do some shows, talk to some folks, mess around and see what all is it about. Their website is PikevilleComicCon.net, and they also have a Facebook page. You contact the E-Store Comic and Tech Shop at Facebook, or call 606-263-4946 for more information.
I want to say special thanks to Carlin for all the voiceover work. CK, Uncle Bill, and the rest of the gang at deadpit.com, T-Shirt Joe at fastcustomshirts.com. Check out Talk Junkie with our friend Justin, and Down on the Holler with Jordan and Brad. Also, thank you once again, Elliot and Justin, for being here. That'll do it for this week. We'll see you next week, and until then, so long for now.
We'll see you.
And don't forget, Goose is going to dance on TikTok.
No, I'm not.
It's going to happen. I've seen the future.
No, it's not.
I'm just going to get real close.
It's really bad.
I'm stopping it now.
Thanks for listening to Here to Chew Bubblegum. Tune in next time as we dive deeper into things the government doesn't want us to know.